Hey guys, how's it going? This is Rich Hall with Follow No One, and you're listening to Bring Me Peace on the Backstage Pass. Rock on!
You're listening to the Backstage Pass, presented by Morrell Outdoors, Beaumont Pass Signs. This is your home for some of the hottest new artists in music today, as well as some of the greatest artists from yesterday. Only on the SportsGuysPodcast.com.
And welcome into another edition of the Backstage Pass here, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com and also presented by scmedia.us, our official Backstage Pass sponsor. I want to thank Nashville recording artist Adam Warner for coming on today. Of course, he's been performing with Trace Adkins and, of course, Neil McCoy and a whole bunch of other great artists out there in Nashville. Adam's got some big things coming up in 2020. We thank you for joining us in the Backstage Pass. And, again, presented by scmedia.us, a lot of shows. We're getting ready to take our Christmas break coming up here in a couple of weeks, and pleased to be joined now by rocker, entertainer, and a member of the band Follow No One as Rich Hall joins us here on the program. And Rich, how are things, buddy?
Groovy, man. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I mean, you guys were, like I said, for yourself, American-born singer, songwriter, and a pianist. I mean, all things out there, too. Just tell me about your connection, Rich, and a little bit about the band Follow No One, which is out there. FollowNoOneMusic.com is where people can find out more information. But talk about the forming of the band and, of course, how you and Pedro got together to put out some amazing music.
Sure, man. Going back, I guess, about 5 years ago, I had been out of music for a little while, and I had a pretty rough patch in my life there, and I almost bled to death. Wow. And I was in ICU, just laying there, passed out, and man, that was like the bottom of the road for me. And I was fortunate enough to get through that, or I would be here. But wow. Yeah, it was a tough road back, and I finally got my way into Kansas City and got back into the studio and started recording a solo album. And in the middle of that, the engineer took off with the music. So I had a little problem with the studio, get my music back. Mm-hmm. But you know, it was actually one of the best things that ever happened to me, because during that time period, you know, I was pretty down and, you know, just looking for what's going to happen next. And during that time period, Pedro contacted me from Lisbon, Portugal. And Pedro's our guitarist, mm-hmm. and much more than that even. But he contacted me and said, Rich, I've got this new song, man. Would you like to sing on it? And, you know, at the time, because of everything going on, I just said, heck, why not, man? So I went down to Nashville and took a week and worked on this song. And, you know, we had originally just planned on doing it for a movie or TV or something like that. And we released it, and the people seemed to dig it. So mm-hmm. after that, that was 2017 mm-hmm. or 2016, excuse me, and we've been doing it ever since, you know. So it's just been a kind of a roller coaster to start out with, but since we've been clicking together, man, the music just keeps getting better and better for us. And this year we kind of capped off what we've gotten started with Best Rock Act at the JMA Awards mm-hmm. down in Hollywood Theater, and you know, we're ready to go. So that's a little bit how we got here.
As far as, you know, growing up in that great rock music time of the 80s and 90s and, of course, early 2000s, talk about some of your favorite bands that you listened to growing up.
Oh, man, a ton of them. You know, I liked a lot of what I heard in the 80s, but to start out with, you know, my dad, you know, he was an old Black Sabbath, Hendrix, mm-hmm. Those types of band from the 70s, and you know, that kind of got me my musical basis, if you will, mm-hmm. you know, and Beatles, you know, all that great music. And then in the 80s, you know, I was in high school, probably late 80s, like 1988, 89, 90, right there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there was some phenomenal bands that were around then that, you know, they're still around now. It tells you, you know, just how great some of these guys are. But, you know, Ozzy, Randy Rhoads, mm-hmm. you know, probably the first people I heard in the 80s that just, they kind of got me to where I was going. I played keyboards in the first band I was ever in, and the first song I ever learned was Mr. Crowley by Ozzy. So, you know, Ozzy, and then you go on from there, but some of the great bands I love too is Damn Yankees and Blue Murder, mm-hmm. Ronnie James Dio, you know, Def Leppard. Oh, yeah. You know, some of the same bands that many that you probably like and many of the listeners mm-hmm. do as well. You know, those kind of been my core. And then, you know, like a lot of the musicians might tell you, a lot of other bands and maybe artists that nobody's ever heard of.
Oh yeah.
You know, that just, you know, that we've all got our favorites like that on our Spotify playlist or Pandora, whatever you got. You know, just artists that just come across your radar. And, you know, the 80s wasn't so much like that because, you know, we didn't have access to all the music we do now. But, you know, back in those days, the garage tapes and just underground music was a great thing, and got a chance to hear Metallica early on and some of those kind of bands. And that's really what got me, you know, hyped to be in rock and roll.
Yeah, I kind of want to get your thoughts on how you feel like, you know, streaming has changed the industry in the last, you know, 10 years or so. I mean, is it, I guess, kind of a double-edged sword that I kind of feel like, you know, sometimes we talk about this with a lot of the talent on the program that we interview. I mean, is it, I guess, a good thing, bad thing for the industry? I mean, sometimes people say, you know, artists don't get paid enough when it comes to the streaming compared to actual album sales. What's your opinion on that?
Well, you know, it depends which part of the industry we're talking about. I think, you know, so one of the things streaming has done is it's allowed, you know, just about anybody to be, you know, to be relevant if they happen to get lucky. But you have such a wide range of music available now. I think there are 40,000 tracks released on Spotify every day. And just from that massive amount of music that's out there, you know that the quality level isn't necessarily always there. I think overall, quite honestly, and I don't want to sound, you know, like a buzzkill, but I think the overall quality of music in general has suffered due to technology, and I think the quality just in the creativity, because a lot of this is, you know, just people using loops and all kinds of things, and you find that more in other genres than you do rock and roll. But you asked me overall, but I think that that's one of the downsides to it. But at the same time, there are so many artists out there that we would never get a chance to get heard, that would never get a chance to get heard, and we would never hear of them if it weren't for the fact that they had such the ability to put the music out there. But as you alluded to a moment ago about money, that's, you know, that's really a crunch that every artist feels unless you got label support, because if you want to put a quality product out there, and, you know, I mean, we spend probably 40 to 60 hours in studio time per song we work on, and that's, you know, that's quite a bit of an investment. And, you know, streaming doesn't hardly make you anything. And tours is where it's at for musicians. You know, we haven't done a lot of touring, unfortunately, you know, but we plan on getting more into that in 2020. But even the labels are now trying to get their hands in artists' pockets, you know, on touring. So. Yeah, I think we're in one of those stages now that 10 to 15 years from now, if we look back on it, it'll make a lot more sense than it does. It's just because the industry is just in such a transition right now. Nobody really knows where it's going, and it's kind of confusing, really. And at the end of the day, I think overall, I think the fans make out better as a result. That we don't necessarily, but, you know, I'm not driven by money. I got to pay the bills like everybody else, but this is a passion and something I love doing, and fortunately, I'm able to do it. So,
yeah, and you guys are very good at it too as well. Right now, time to feature a little music here from Rich Hall and the band to Follow No One. This one's called "Coming Home." Here it is on the Backstage Pass. Enjoy this one.
I've been away too long, I don't even know myself. I'm coming home. The friends I had before don't even know me now. It's been too long. I
Need a new website for your company or organization? Join the hundreds of businesses that have trusted their digital presence with scmedia.us. Domain registration, hosting, expert responsive website building, aftercare maintenance, security, search engine optimization, and ADA accessibility. You get a peace of mind in knowing that your online marketing material is on point and works to funnel customers straight to your inbox. A sharp functioning website is a must for any business these days. Quick access to your products and services is the only way to stay in business. Your website is the foundation of any marketing plan. Don't be worried about the general stigma of websites costing tens of thousands of dollars. It's just not so. For a relatively small budget, you can reach millions of people worldwide. scmedia.us partners with small to large-sized businesses to enhance the online presence of their brand. Simple and affordable with a short 10-minute consultation or form fill, you can be on your way to web stardom. Set the pace for your competitors and inquire today. scmedia.us's number one priority is taking care of their clients. Their small, powerful web design agency can help turn your digital business storefront into a lead-generating machine. Ready to take the next step in your business? Let's put together a custom plan to help you gain customers. Fill out our form at scmedia.us or send an email to support@scmedia.us.
Hey, this is Bobby Massano, the legendary, supposedly, blues rock guitar player. How y'all doing down there in Texas and Houston? Check out the sportsguyspodcast.com. And Brandon, I had such a blast doing this. Get over there and check it out because podcasts are the way to go. And I'll see you when I come down there to play.
And welcome back here to the show again. Rich Hall from the band Follow No One joining us here. The Backstage Pass, again, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com and presented by scmedia.us. So talk a little bit about that one, too, because, again, one of those songs that really resonates with a lot of fans out there, of course, for you guys and your following. Talk about Coming Home and kind of where the backstory of that one came from.
Well, Coming Home's a little bit of an interesting song. I served in the Army, and I did 2 tours in Saudi back in the 90s, during the whole Gulf thing. Mm-hmm. And my dad was in the Big Red 1 in Vietnam, and my grandfather was also an Army soldier in the 82nd Airborne in World War II at Normandy and Battle of the Bulge. And, after I got done, I think maybe it was after my first tour, I'm not sure when it was exactly, I started tinkering around with just the idea of this song, and what I wanted to do was try to write it, from the perspective of myself and my dad and my grandfather, and also keeping in mind all the people I served with and everything, and try to kind of tell maybe a little bit different story in a song. And it's kind of about the war that doesn't necessarily leave. Just because you leave the war doesn't necessarily mean it leaves you. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe you hear that resonate in the song and some of the affects that we use in there, especially towards the end. And it's just kind of, I'm just throwing my soul out there for everybody to look at. Mm-hmm. Basically, if you want to put it that way, and just trying to honor all the other people that have served the country, either in the military or first responders, and just good old people that just do what they can to help out this great nation of ours.
Now, with the holidays coming up, and again, we thank you for your service, too. Again, Rich Hall joining us here from the band Follow No One here in the Backstage Pass. With the holidays coming up, Rich, I guess, what are some of the plans out there that you guys have as far as family getting together and having a little downtime?
Well, actually tonight I'm going to be going to look at a tree lighting, a tree lighting here in the town I'm in Colorado, Pueblo, and just, spend as much time with family as possible. I'm not going to be doing I've been doing enough traveling this year. Mm-hmm. So, when the holidays get here a lot of times, you kind of hinted to it. It's great to just have some time to hunker down with the family, and just relax a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to work on some new music. I've actually got a couple of songs that I'm working on now that I'm going to use that time to do, but mostly it's just going to be to enjoy being around my family and, celebrating the holidays just like everybody else does.
Yeah, and I always tell people, of course, too, as I try to bring the sports side into it, too, as well. It's definitely good to kind of kick back. And no matter what team you watch out there, is the family kind of involved in watching a little college football or a little pro football out there when they get a chance?
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, I'm a Michigan Wolverines fan, and we got done in again by Ohio State. So this year for Christmas, I've asked Santa Claus if he could fire Jim Harbaugh before New Year's, and so we can start the search early.
love
All
it.
kidding aside, yeah, I'll be there with my Michigan Wolverines and my Detroit Lions. As a football fan in the NFL, that's one thing I never really have to worry about is getting crossways with anybody when it comes to discussing sports. Because, like I tell them, when it comes to especially NFL football, I'm a Detroit Lions fan, and we're not trying to hurt anybody.
No, I'd say
And we haven't in a long time.
Hey,
but I hope that changes.
The young quarterback Blau played well on Thanksgiving Day, and of course Chicago Bears just got a little bit more of the better of them too, right there too. But I still think to me Matt Patricia is a great coach, no doubt, and he had that experience coming over from the Patriots, and I think it's one of those things to when they find a good running game. Once again, I like this kid Bo Scarborough. I watched him in college at Alabama, and got to sit around the TV and just watch a defense right now that's given up way too many points per game, which is one of those things that you always see in the National Football League. And I think, when they get a few more drafts under their belt, Stafford comes back healthy, and you get more pieces around it, I think this is going to be a team in the next 4 or 5 years that might make a move. Rich, this is a good Lions team.
I would hope so. It seems like our defense has struggled ever since Adonijah Sue left. That guy, just being there on the field, he required attention, and usually the attention of 2 or 3 people. And since he's left, and the offense isn't as high-powered as it was, I think the defense is the biggest. Like you said, the defense is a big area they need to focus on. But I'm hopeful too for the coach, and hopefully Matt Stafford stays healthy, because one of the worst things you can have as a franchise is a quarterback that should be your number one quarterback that's dealing with injuries while you've got some young talent right behind them. And I guess that happened to the Patriots a few years back, and I guess it worked out okay for them, because that's when Tom Brady entered the mix. And he'd be my favorite quarterback right now if he would have signed with the Lions, because he was a Wolverine alum. So I don't know what to do with that guy.
Hey, nobody does, and nobody's figured it out the past.
Nobody, amen to that. Nobody else does. He knows what to do with them either, but they keep winning Super Bowls. So.
And nobody knows, of course, when he's ready to retire for himself, he'll hang him up, no doubt about it. And right now, here in the Backstage Pass, time to feature a little more music. This is the current single, came out this past October. It's called "Bring Me Peace" from the band Follow No One. And, of course, Rich Hall here joining us in the Backstage Pass. Here it is, called "Bring Me Peace." Enjoy this one.
And if you ask me, I won't know. And if you tell me, I won't go. I know the reason you're
you enjoy my song All I Want for Christmas off my new Christmas album, The Christmas Collection, here on the Backstage Pass. You can find more info about me, my whereabouts, my music on markmartellmusic.com. That's Mark with a C.
And welcome back here to the show again. That was Bring Me Peace from the band Rich Hall, and of course to the band Follow No One here in the Backstage Pass, again powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com and presented by scmedia.us. They feature all of our Backstage Passes shows. We appreciate everything they do from a sponsorship standpoint. Now, you know, that one too, man, has got a good vibe to it. Now, where did I guess the story come for Bring Me Peace? And I know it's done real well for you guys as the current single.
Well, yeah, it's doing well for us right now. We've had a lot of success with this song, and our prior song, Fear No Evil, is kind of a precursor to this one. Bring Me Peace. You know, really, sometimes you always want to think that there's just some great, awesome story behind maybe the lyrics of the song or what a song is about. But sometimes songs just, you know, in this case, the lyrics are a reflection of the music. And what I mean by that is Pedro has a composition background. He actually went to college, not unlike me. But Pedro went to the University of United Kingdom in Sheffield and got a composition degree. And this is almost like a composition. He approached this as a composition more than just a typical rock song. And then the music, it kind of just had that sound to it, and that's the vibe I got from it. And that is the you know, you hear that in the lyrics, and then, you know, it just kind of took on a life of its own. I guess that's probably a better way to put it. The song just kind of did, and added some terrific guitar work in there by Pedro, and hopefully I think the vocals are pretty good in the song, and yeah, everybody seems to really, really enjoy the song so far. Yeah,
it's a great song, no doubt. Again, Rich Hall joining us here in the Backstage Pass. Now, you guys did put out a EP there back in 2017, which I really, really liked too, and it said one of the songs on there that really caught my attention on the EP out there, Follow No One, was Reflection, and I liked Reflection, of course, Guardian Angel, The Greatest Sin, No Regrets, and of course the song 5 is on there too, with the 5-song EP album. Talk about Reflection and kind of where that came from.
Well, Reflection, actually, it's an interesting song. I wrote a song called Reflection, and this is the second song Pedro and I were working on after doing Guardian Angel. So we hadn't really gotten used to working together. And Pedro got the song, and he got back to me with it. He goes, "I just want to warn you, the song doesn't sound exactly like what you sent me." I said, "Okay." So I listened to it, and as a matter of fact, he's right. It didn't. So much so that I just threw the lyrics and the melodies that I had in the trash, and I started from scratch based on the song itself. And yeah, that song, it's really pretty. Well, man, it's kind of difficult to put into words. Reflection is probably a pretty hateful song coming from one person to another in a relationship, I guess, if you want to say it that way. And they're not very happy with the person they were with, and obviously find out a lot of things about them later on that just made them realize that, you know what, the person you've been with this whole time that you thought this is who it was, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, they're very evil, so evil that when they look in the mirror, you know, like mirror, mirror on the wall, there's not even a reflection in the mirror. They're so bad. They don't have a soul, kind of like a vampire. And, you know, that's really what the song took on that aura to it. And yeah, that's a killer song. I'm glad you dig it. No,
it's a great song. Really do dig it too. Now, as far as the year winding down, we talked a little bit about the holidays and kind of getting a little bit of that cozy Christmas going on. What about some goals and some things that you guys are excited about for 2020 as far as coming up next year?
Well, you know, it's kind of hard. That's a great question because you know, when you come off winning an award like we did in 2019, it's like, well, where do you go from there? Well, first of all, it was great talent there, great award show, the largest independent music award show in the world. But as it says, it is an independent music award, so we are going to try to continue to just progress up, you know, in the industry, I guess if you want to call it, from our standpoint. To our fans, it really, you know, they're not going to notice much different other than great music and hopefully some live shows. And right now we're looking into maybe doing something over in Europe. And like I told you earlier, that I'm working on a couple new songs right now. And right now, Pedro and I are kind of just bandying about the idea of releasing an album versus singles, because in today's marketplace in music, there's so much new music coming out. Like I said before, that you're seeing bands they've stopped dropping albums, as much. And even when they do, they've released 3 or 4 singles off of the album before they ever even release it. So we've got some thinking to do, and that's part of what we're going to do over the holiday season, is kind of talk about what we're really going to focus on. But for right now, when in doubt, write good music, record it, and you'll find something to do with it.
Well, no doubt about it. And again, follow your passion too. And I tell you, Rich, for more information, people can go to follownoOnemusic.com, and of course on Facebook and Instagram, and of course all over Twitter. And Follow No One is a great band out there you guys need to check out. And Rich, we appreciate the time here on the program today, here in the Backstage Pass. Again, happy holidays to you and your family, and look forward to more big things coming up in 2020, my friend.
Sure. Merry Christmas, everyone.
You got it. That's Rich Hall of the band Follow No One. Again, follownoOnemusic.com for more information there, here in the Backstage Pass, presented by scmedia.us. And if you need a website right now, here is the full commercial to hear and the company to go with. Again, scmedia.us. Stay tuned for more.
Need a new website